Let's get it. Let's get it. Arthur Moats in the building. And we're joined by that guy, the one that's new to the channel, man, but we've been super excited about, man, talking about none other than Mark Bergin, man, doing his thing, man, the WRAL Channel 5 producer in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the newest member of the squad over here, man, doing his thing, man, creating content with the Don't Cross the Moats brand. And I must say, Mark, that video you just dropped, man, AFC North quarterback rankings, respect, baby, respect, man. I was digging it, all right? I can already see people are engaging with it. If they haven't, y'all missing out. Definitely go check that out, man, because Mark is talking that talk over there, man. But how have you been, man? Everything good with you, baby?
Arthur, it's Friday. Howdy, partner. And listen, man, I appreciate you having me on yet again. And I'm just pumped to be doing a lot more Steelers content, working with you, working with people in and around the league. Shout out to producer David as well. He's been fantastic.
Shout out to David. Yeah, hey, DD Smalls, man.
Happy to be on board, and let's get this rolling. I'm excited about today's topic as well.
Heck yeah, man. So, of course, during this time of year, man, we always get the list coming out, right? Rankings, list, all-time greats and things like that. But this go-around, with it being 2025, ESPN dropped their all-quarter century team, and they treated it as if they were creating a full 53-man roster. You got specialists on this thing. You even got a 17-man practice squad list. And let me tell you, Steelers Nation, when we talk about this practice squad and some of these names, you be like, whoa, hey, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. But as a whole, man, I thought it was a cool, it'll be a cool thing for me and you to discuss, man, for a couple of reasons. We're going to get a chance to see how you feel about some of these all-time players, man, and some of these current players, and more importantly, man, just what you view, you know, whether it's a peak season versus the longevity element, because all of these things were included in terms of the making of this list, man. So with that being the case, man, I figured we'll just go, you know, positions, you know, hopping around and stuff like that. Sound good to you?
Yeah, let's go right in, and like no love lost on the Steelers. I just... You know, I used to co-host with Ike Taylor for a long time, and we'd talk about the Hall of Fame. We'd talk about the Hall of Fame each year, and there's like a sentiment around the league. It's like, oh, there's too many Steelers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There were a few Steelers that I really felt got slighted when you put together this all-quarter century team, but we'll get into it.
Well, I was going to ask, man, since we both had a chance to look at the list, where would you like to start first? Which one was like, you know what, this is so glaring, I have to address this one first?
All right, very first, let's talk edge rusher, man.
Oh,
like,
why are you speaking my language? Mark, I can't make this up. I literally have edge rushers over here. When I woke up, so I said, yeah, I want to talk rushers. But I said, let me just see what Mark's energy is. Thank you for saying edge rushers first, man. You a good dude. You know it. Shout out to you, Mark. Shout out to you.
All right, so hang on. Let's go through the guys who actually made it in terms of. So these are the players from 2000 on. So their production from the year 2000 to this point in time. They've got Hall of Famer DeMarcus Ware. They've also got, hang on, I've got the list here. DeMarcus Ware, Jared Allen, Myles Garrett, Julius Peppers, and then the practice squad is TJ Watt and Michael Strahan, who both hold the record for most sacks in a single season. So that's the first thing where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense.
Interesting.
And then, not to have James Harrison on this list is absurd. It is absurd.
Talk to me now. Talk to me.
All right. First 5 years, James Harrison was in the league. He didn't start. So he didn't become a full-time starter till 2007. And he came into the league in 2002, but had to earn his keep in the league. So that impacts his statistical output. And then you say, well, if you know about the Steelers as an outside linebacker, not as a 4-3 edge, he's not rushing the passer on every single play. A lot of them, most of them, sure, yes. But I look at the fear that he put into opposing teams. They changed the rules of the sport in terms of the concussion protocol. Just ask the Cleveland Browns that went up against him, where he's putting dudes to sleep.
Hey, come on now, Muhammad Nasser, Quad, Colt McCoy and company, man. Yeah.
All right. And then let's go to the 2007 Monday Night Football game against the Ravens, which I think is maybe the best single game a defensive player has ever played.
Crazy
10 tackles,
out there.
6 quarterback hits, 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, an interception, a pass deflection, and a fumble recovery. And by the way, Arthur, I haven't even gotten to the point.
Don't forget.
I haven't even gotten to the point. James Harrison has the best defensive play in Super Bowl history. I rest my case, man. Not to have him on this list is absurd. It's absurd. It's absurd.
Man, you are speaking to me, man. You are preaching to the choir. That was one of the biggest glaring things that jumped out. Like you said, TJ Watt being on the practice squad, Myles Garrett being on the active, of like, what are we doing here? What is the criteria here? You know how we do this. Okay, if we want to talk the statistical value, okay, what are we doing here? What are we trying to accomplish here? If we're talking just overall team success, we know that TJ's been a part of more productive teams as well during this process. Once again, what are we talking here? That's the one that really caught me off guard. But then from there, when you brought up James Harrison, I thought you did an awesome job debating him, man. But shoot, I was like, what about a Von Miller? Von Miller don't make the list? Defensive player of the year, or Super Bowl MVP, 29 sacks and counting. Like,
wins everywhere he goes.
You know what I mean?
Wins everywhere he goes.
Multiple time champion. That one doesn't. That's not even honorable mention. Practice. That was the one that really got me. I'm just like, whoa. We know Miller time. And when we're saying from 2000 on, his production has been through the roof. I mean, for the longest time, Von was viewed as the standard. Man, you want to have that guy out there, man, rushing the passer. That was another one that really just jumped off like, whoa, all right, he doesn't make it. But can I give you another one, Mark? And I don't even like this because, he's a rat bird and he's a purple wearer in the division. But where's Terrell Suggs at? No, Ball So Hard University. I mean, we didn't like T Suggs, but let's be real. We know T Sizzle now.
Yeah.
Like, that's another one of those ones where I'm just like, hey, I'm one of the believers like this, Mark. If I'm going to be promoting a guy and saying, hey, I think he should be on the list, I'll always say you got to have somebody that would come off the list, right? You can't just throw a name out there. But I'm looking like, Jared Allen, baby. I love Jared Allen. I mean, Mr. Lasso him up. But that's the one that I look at when I'm bringing up those names that I just brought up and that even you just brought up. I'm like, that's the tough one. That's the one that just stands out a little bit to me, a little bit more than the other ones. And Myles Garrett, I'm just like, yo, what was the thought process? How do we make that decision, man?
The Steelers fans, the Yinzers and the Yinzer chat's going to go crazy. We'll always have TJ Watt above Myles Garrett. And when TJ Watt gets his contract extension and it's a higher per year dollar figure than Myles Garrett, I'll say I told you so. And there's that. I'll say this too. I think that TJ Watt's on a trajectory if he continues at the output that he's at to where he'll be even better than his brother, JJ Watt, the OG. JJ Watt deserves to be on this list. So it's like, which kind of fine wine you prefer. I would put TJ Watt above JJ Watt. I know it's at this point in time. At this point in time, I would.
Yeah.
I would. In terms of when
TJ Watt said, bad dude though. JJ deserves bad dude, man.
But this is where this list, it's like JJ Watt gets his own.
Yeah, the versatile defensive. You see it right? Yeah.
He gets his own category, but TJ Watt's on the practice squad for edge rushers.
Yeah.
To have TJ Watt and Michael Strahan on your practice squad when it's like, hey, when you want to race to the quarterback, those are the guys that are getting there first. It's just
these absurd. Are the guys that
it's just absurd.
I mean, those two specifically holding the single season record for sacks and understanding how long that record had lasted and how just challenging it has been for all of these guys to even touch it. And the two dudes that have it, they're on your practice squad. Yeah. But It's all good. It's all good because trust me, man, this list gets even more spicier. Have we looked at wide receivers just yet? Is it
Oh
okay if we
boy,
go to
here we
wide
go.
receivers?
Yep,
I
yep,
wanted
yep.
to start with something soft first. I get a couple layups in. Can we talk wide receiver though? Because the list reads Randy Moss makes the list, and this was in order as well. So you got Randy Moss
Mm-hmm.
on the list. Calvin Johnson, shout out to Calvin Johnson, man, making the list. Julio Jones on the active roster. Terrell Owens, shout out to T.O. You know, I love me some me on the active roster.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin Harrison Sr. makes the active roster. And then we got Justin Jefferson rounding out the active roster. And then for your P squad, Antonio A.B. Brown and Andre Johnson. Whew. All right. Are we doing
All
this
right.
on good guys? Or are we doing this just on production alone? I need to know.
Let's do this.
Whew.
I'm fine
Whew.
with Randy Moss being number one.
Uh-huh.
I'm fine with Calvin Johnson because when I think of Calvin Johnson, the
All right.
very first image that comes into my brain, I close my eyes and what do I think of? The two defensive backs lined up against him on the goal line against the New Orleans Saints. And it's like, I've never seen that happen for another player.
Like a true gunner double jammer. So look, it's funny you brought up that play. That's your first image because it was such an outlandish thing to see.
Absurd.
But for me, man, I have the like visual and actual like being out there scarred memory of watching him go up on three of my defenders and come down with the ball. And you're just like, what is that? Like, yo, how do you stop that, man? Stafford literally just threw it up as high as he could. And you just see him elevate. You're like, he's still going up. God, dog.
I would love to see, I mean, when he was coming out of Georgia Tech at his high school highlights, just a men amongst boys, like the size and speed. So I'm fine with those two. Yeah. I could argue T.O. coming back from a very bad ankle sprain, fractured fibula, and then in the Super Bowl,
I mean, you saw he
performed at the biggest stage.
Come on.
I'm fine with those first three. Yeah. AB's got to be their next man.
Thank you.
AB's got to be their next. And look, he's had his off the field issues. He's had his off the field issues. I know he's wanted right now at the time of this recording for attempted murder. I get it. But in terms of football ability, in terms of what was the 6-year stretch that he had from 2013
time frame, right?
2013 through 2018, where
it's unreal.
Well over 1,000 yards, getting into the end zone. And when opposing teams know that it's coming and he's still being double teamed and still performing at that high of a level.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's to have Antonio Brown on the practice squad is just, again, we're talking in terms of football ability.
Just football, right. Just football.
And look, I'll argue for a few other players too in this conversation because, and this is not a knock on Julio Jones, Marvin Harrison, Justin Jefferson. They're all prolific receivers. Andre Johnson, I like seeing getting his due. Torrey Holt, I think, belongs in this conversation. Isaac Bruce deserves to be in this conversation. And then one other guy, Hines Ward. And this is where
Shout out to Hines. Yes.
This is my argument for James Harrison. The NFL outlawed crackback blocks. And Hines Ward is widely recognized as like the best blocking receiver ever.
Yeah.
Ask Keith Rivers. He broke the dude's jaw on a crackback block.
Mark, watching Hines break Keith Rivers' jaw had me petrified to play against Hines and the Steelers my rookie year, man. I'm literally out there like, hold on, bro. Where is Hines at? Hines, please, God, do not hit me outside in and break my jaw, bro. That's the only time I've ever felt like that, and it's because of Hines Ward, man. But that's his track record. You know what Hines is going to do, man. Hines was a monster in the game, man, in terms of his blocking ability. But then you also saw the receiving ability. And even from a Super Bowl standpoint, when we're talking about that postseason production, when it matters the most, when all the chips are pushed to the table, this dude was showing up and being ultra productive during that time frame as well, man.
Super Bowl 40 MVP. And he'd knock you on your ass and he'd wake up and he'd bounce up and be smiling.
Big smile. Big smile.
It was just, look, that's a little bit further of an argument, but it's just lost in time of when you look at the statistical production, it was a different game 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Hines Ward, if you change the rules of the sport, that to me leads me to believe that you belong in that, at least in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And he was right there. Like it's just like, and he always found a way to get open. He wasn't the fastest or the quickest. I know coming out of Georgia, he didn't even have an ACL in one of his knees. So it's just like,
who needs one of those things anyways, man? He was all right. Yeah.
Clearly. I mean, listen, man, when you're in Latrobe in training camp, and we have this on good accord, the defensive players were making peace treaties with this guy in training camp where it's like, look, Hines, we're
Don't
your
hit
teammate.
me like that, dude.
Save it for the game. Save it
Seriously,
for our opponent, man. It's
seriously,
man.
But look, you brought up some excellent names, but there is actually another guy that I think a lot of us, when I say this name, would be like, ooh, what about Larry Fitzgerald?
Oh man,
Larry
how is he not on this
Larry
list?
Larry isn't good enough, or off the field. Larry, it's Larry. We talk about Larry Fitzgerald, man. Mister, I'm gonna score act like I've been there before because I've been there a ton of times. I mean, it's Larry. Like he don't make the not even practice squad. Just that hurt me. That really got me. Okay, that got me. I'm saying Larry Fitzgerald, like the consummate professional on and off the field. Biggest game of his life. We know what that Super Bowl looked like. We know. We don't get to the San Antonio great play. We know what he did. We saw him split him down the middle. First Baby Jesus and company. We're like, whoa, what's this? Come on now. It's a bad dude, man.
He almost single-handedly ruined the reputation of one of the best defenses in NFL history, the 08 Steelers.
Come on, man.
But here's the thing, too. Larry Fitzgerald, that postseason run, did that to everybody.
Everybody. It's Larry.
It might be the best postseason run a receiver's ever had that year. And go back and look that up. He went off on everyone. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald. No,
that was the one for me, man.
No doubt. I feel foolish for not bringing his name up to this point, Arthur. That's a great call. He deserves to be on this list somewhere. I don't know who we're bumping, but he has to be.
Listen. If we wanted to just take a practice squad guy off, Andre Johnson, I'm a big fan. I love the Jordan movement that you broke out, but you gotta go, bro. It's Larry Fitzgerald we talking about. If you want somebody on the active roster, all right, Julio, listen, Julio. I'm a big Julio fan. All right. Me personally, I prefer AB over Julio, but that's for another day. But if I got to take somebody off the list, Julio, baby, you the odd man. All right. Because Larry is in them conversations with the Calvin Johnson, with the Randy Mosses. When you're talking impact, statisticals, the dude is Larry. 17,000 receivers? Like, come on. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? How does he not make your practice squad? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Craziness, man.
Amen, Arthur. Amen.
Yeah. So like I said, I had to bring him up, man. Had to do that one. All right. So before we get to the super duper spicy part of this thing, I did have to also look at this here safety market. Can we talk about these safeties real quick? Because
let's do it.
I'm big on order. All right. I'm big on order of operations. And as I was looking at the order of operations with these safeties, there is one particular one that they named first. Ed Reed. Then from there we get Troy Polamalu. I mean, I get it. From there, Brian Dawkins got to have Weapon X up there, and then Earl Thomas rounding out. Charles Woodson is the practice squad guy. I personally would have him as my corner, not at safety, but I get it. Got to find a spot. But here we are again, man. Ed versus Troy. I get it. Interceptions are sexy. I know. They're fun. They're easy for people to just point and say, yo, that's cool. We like this. But the other impacts of the game, man. When I look at Troy, we talk about the sacks, we talk about the picks, we talk about the impact plays, we talk about not just the individual accolades, but even the team success as well, and him being the main contributor to that. These are the parts where I'm just like, look, I get it. They both are on the list and they both belong on the list, but I need my man's name first. Can Troy first and then Ed. That's just how I look at it, man. But I figure I pass it to you, though, man. Maybe I could just be biased because I wear the black and gold with my man Troy.
It's a 1A, 1B. if I had to pick, I probably would take Ed Reed over Troy. But let me say this. Let me add this caveat in.
Talk to me.
To me, it's the difference between free safety, strong safety. Like
That's
Troy
literally it.
moved
Yes.
all over the field,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like Ed, you wanted to be your center fielder and go make plays
Yeah.
and almost be like a return man of sorts
Mm-hmm.
when he was picking the ball off and going the other way for a pick
Yeah.
six. You really can't go wrong with either. And like, I'm just imagining when you talk about all-time safeties, a defensive backfield where those are both of your starting safeties. Like,
think about it,
good
man.
luck to the other team. Good luck. I think again,
Versus
Troy, that
yeah.
a little bit more physical, and then just in free space. You've got Ed Reed. I mean, both had just prolific careers. This is almost like the defensive back version of the Myles Garrett, TJ Watt debate.
It is. It definitely is.
I would take Ed Reed over Troy, though, and that might not be the most popular in the Yinzer chat.
Though, baby.
But
It's nothing
listen,
wrong with
man,
that.
I got to give you my truth. I got to give you my truth.
Reed, man. It's
but
Ed Reed.
It's like it's such a marginal difference. It's just
absolutely.
Like it's like the MJ and LeBron debate. It's just like, oh my gosh, if that's what we're reverting to, it's
you can't go wrong. Either way, you can't go wrong. Yeah.
I mean, I think of Palomalu, though. The play I think of is the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game.
Championship, yep.
The pick six that sent the Steelers to the Super Bowl. That's the play that I think of where he cut back across the field. And I mean, that's probably the most iconic play in the history of Heinz Field. Yeah. And he was part of that, man, and helped propel the Steelers to Super Bowl 43.
So, look, I think of that play, but I also think of just the signature, him jumping over the line of scrimmage, hitting the QBs, man. I love that about him, man. The timing of it, the balls to do it. I mean, let's be real. We weren't seeing people do that. That was like some video game backyard type of stuff right there. And it's the safety of all people. We're like, bro, what? But then I also think of the hits that he put on people. That I'm like, yo, Troy was a bad dude right there. When that hair comes down, whew, I'm like, yeah, man. Maybe it's the linebacker in me, man, but I need a little bit of, you mean, for that thigh y'all on it at the end of it, all right? And TP for sure is bringing that every single time, man. But yeah, you can't go wrong with either one of these dudes, man. Like you said, 64 interceptions, all right? 64. Just think about that right there when you're talking Ed Reed, man.
Yeah.
That's an insane amount of picks, man. And we know turnovers are king, man. Can you affect the ball, man? How are you getting to that rock, man? So I can dig it. All right. We've been jumping around a little bit, been having a little fun. Okay. Got some other positions now, that kind of stood out a little bit, man. I'll hit you another little one off, and then we'll get to the big, position group we got to talk about, that quarterback group. All right. But how you feel about that D-line group, man? I mean, you have brought up J.J. Watt, how they gave him a special versatile defensive lineman category. But this, how we breaking up the nose tackle, they went with just one, Vince Wilfork. They did give Casey a little mention in there. Shout out to Big Snack. But then even D-line as a whole, Cam Hayward doesn't get on that. They gave you Chris Jones on the active roster, keeping my man Cam Hayward off the active roster, man.
All right, Aaron Donald's got to go one. I think we're in agreement there.
Mandatory. That's mandatory.
So I think that's where the conversation starts. I don't know. Calais Campbell, I mean, he's had a fine career, but was he ever dominant? Like dominant at any point? Like that's where I'm like.
This was my issue with it, right? I said, if you include J.J. Watt as a D lineman, and not this versatile D lineman category, I don't feel Calais is number 2 on this. I think he might even not make it because JJ is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year award winner.
Yeah.
How do you not have that up there, right? But I think the thing with Calais that makes him a little bit unique, never viewed as the most dominant, right? Like a Aaron Donald, like a JJ Watt, never viewed like that. But when you're talking about over 100 sacks as one of those interior D lineman guys, that's the part that does stand out. And that's the reason why like guys like Cam Hayward is so impressive. It's like, yo, you're getting numbers and you're not a true traditional 4-3 DN that's rushing every single time. You're in there handling doubles. You're in there keeping guys clean, but yet you're still able to get after this quarterback. That's the only part that I'm like, if they're making that case, because Calais does have 110 career sacks. It's like, if that's the argument for him, I get that, but I still think that's a tough sell though, man. I would personally have him on practice squad if it was up to me. He'll be on my P squad. But I think that's the one thing that they're looking at saying, man, 110 sacks from that interior part. The same way when Aaron Donald was leading the league or flirting with them high teens in sacks. You're like, all right, when TJ, when Cam, even when, or not Cam, when TJ, when Miles Garrett, even Chandler Jones, right? These guys are prolifically going out there getting 12, 13, 15 sacks in a season. They should, by the nature of their position. When you're in the interior D line, you're not supposed to be a double-digit sack guy. 8 sacks as an interior guy, even 10 sacks is great as an interior D lineman. So when you start seeing those type of numbers, man, that's the part that does kind of make it a little bit more eye-opening. But I don't want to discredit it. It still feels a little Frank Gorish, though. Almost like the longevity element.
Yeah,
the longevity. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like you look at Frank Gore, he's 16,000 career rushing yards. He's number 3 all the time. You're like, yeah, but I'm not taking him over Adrian Peterson, Shady McCoy. I'm not taking him over any of these other dudes, but he has the longevity part. And to me, that's kind of how the Calais part feels a little bit.
Sure. And I mean, he's still playing.
He's still playing. Think about it. Yeah, he's still playing, man.
I'm fine with the rest. I mean, Chris Jones has been integral to the Kansas City Chiefs in their Super Bowl run. Cam Hayward, I like seeing getting his due. Kevin Williams. Where's Warren Sapp on this list?
Ooh,
where's Warren Sapp on this list?
That is a name. You are, because they got Ray Lewis, they got Derek Brooks on the list. How you not going to have Warren Sapp on the list? You absolutely right. What?
There was a pick six. Someone's running back. And he goes after.
Come on, man.
He goes after Kurt Warner and like puts his hand up, being like, "Yep, I got him."
I love Big Sap, man. Have his hands taped up.
Mollywops the guy.
Come on, man.
Can you imagine someone of that size running at that speed, running directly at you? The thing.
What
I
nightmares. Think of the perfect like interior D lineman, big body, nasty type like. Sapp is the guy, man. Sapp is that perfect mold of that's what it needs to look like right there. That what? Golly, man. Shout out to Warren Sapp. That's a heck of a name by you. Yes, sir.
A Super Bowl champion as well. I do think Casey Hampton deserves an honorable mention at nose tackle.
They didn't give him a P squad, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. If you talk to any of the 2000 Steelers, they will gladly acknowledge, if not for Casey Hampton's dominance at the point of attack in the A gap, 0 technique, 1 technique, lining up over centers and guards. Everything else falls apart with the defense. If that is not that simple, stout man. On the interior, if that is not solid in winning at the point of attack, everything else is irrelevant. Everything else is irrelevant with how dominant those Steelers defenses were. He gets credit among Pittsburgh Steelers fans, but at large as a whole, what he meant to those defenses, he doesn't get nearly enough credit. He just doesn't.
No, and that's absolutely the truth, man. And part of it, I feel like, is because of how those Steelers-Patriots matchups went. And with the Patriots obviously getting the hardware a little bit more in that convo, it made it feel, it made it feel like Vince was, oh man, we're on the winning side. But it's like, man, big snack, bro. Come on. What are we talking about, man? But
hey, Vince Wilfork, though, I mean, honestly,
Vince is a man. He's a monster, dude.
He might be the only guy when he moved to the Houston Texans and they had Houston on Hard Knocks. I think, Arthur, he could be one of those players. I think James Harrison is like this too. I don't even think they need pads. I think you can just put them out there and they could still play. And they could still play. I just imagine Vince Wilfork wearing overalls,
no shirt with a hat on. Come on, man. We all know the look.
Let's line up. And I still think he would win, even without pads on, man.
Absolutely, man. And I think that's the other cool part too, man, for us as we're doing this, all quarter century team. These are the dudes that we legit got a chance to grow up and watch. This is our middle school, high school, collegiate, we know these guys. And I think that that's what makes it a lot more fun for us at this stage, because we can also speak to not just the statistical element, but how we felt watching these guys. I think that's been some of the arguments or some of the challenges when guys argue 70s and 80s versus current guys. It's like, man, not everybody got a chance to see everybody and understand what that felt like. But with this quarter century tape, it's like, yeah, we know really well how we felt and how all of these guys were even talked about during that time frame, man. And I think that's why this next position, it gets to get a little fun, a little spicy. Because have you looked at the quarterback spot? Have you looked at our quarterback team, man?
Yeah. All right. Brady, cool. Like the GOAT, no argument there.
TB12.
Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, fine. I honestly, those first three, I don't really have much of a debate. Mm-hmm. Practice squad, having Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees over Big Ben.
All right.
Nah.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it?
Yeah, we can. But what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Mm-hmm. That was my thing. I'm like, Aaron Rodgers, okay. We're going off of the MVP element of it. I get that. All right, he does have a championship and he does have the Super Bowl MVP in that process. But once again, when we're starting to do this whole comparing Big Ben versus Rodgers, Big Ben is going to be looking a lot more favorably in these conversations. I just think, man, the wow factor that people have put on Rodgers because of the arm talent, they look at that the same way they talk about Mahomes, even to an extent how they talked about Manning, right, when he first was coming out. And it's like they fall in love with that part and they will just carry that the whole way. And I think to an extent, even with Drew, I think is filthy with it. I even like Drew a little bit more just because of him being undersized with it. But there are so many other variables. I'm like, man, you're playing in a dome. How many times out the year? You don't have to deal with these elements. I'll also think of with 7, man, the toughness of it as well, man. We know with that bloody nose and all, man. I'm not leaving. I'm out here. Broken face and all. I'm not leaving. I'm out here. Like, I love that part of the gritty part of it. And like I said, man, the mother dudes only did it once. 7 did it 2 times. And had to be the guy leading them 2 times. That matters. I mean, to me, I think that's why I don't bring up the Matty Ryans of the world, right? Matt Ryan, heck of a player. But to me, I think that's the difference between, when you're seeing the Phillip Rivers, the Matt Ryans, the Drew Brees of the world. It's like, yeah, it looked good. Yes, their statistics look good in terms of what they were throwing for. But in terms of when it was time to have it in these crunch games, in terms of these going on runs, 7 is the guy that always outdid those dudes. And I just think that that's the part that, yeah, I get the big 3, the Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Patty Mahomes. But from there, it's like, man, this is where 7 has to get that respect, has to be talked about a lot more, man.
Yeah, what I remember of Ben, I mean, Super Bowl 43, the comeback and all of that.
Come on, man.
And then in the 2010s with the Killer Bees, just playing at a prolific level.
Filthy.
I also remember too, what was it? Was it Bart Scott against the Ravens, who like any other quarterback, they would have had to put him off in a stretcher and just gets up as if it's no big deal. You know how demoralizing that is?
It's nothing. Like, that's 7, man. Like, I vividly remember playing against 7, and the whole convo is literally, yeah, man. And this is 2010. We're like, yo, we know we can get past the O-line, but getting 7 down, that's a whole other ball game. And then he's not just the old school super tough quarterback. He also is the guy that has eyes down the field and is going to dagger you with the bomb. Like, could make every throw on the field with 3-4 defenders on him. Back when he was Big Ben, before he became Slim Big Ben. You know what I mean? Like, started going through that. Hey, man, he came into camp, man. He's about 10 pounds lighter, man. You know how that goes. But he was Big Ben, man, playing against that. Oh, my God. You talking about fun, but it was like almost playing against your big brother. You're like, bro, we're just hanging on him, and he's, all right, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to make this throw casual. Here you go, Hines. You're like, God dang, man. But that's the part, man, where I say, man, 7 is on a different level when we're talking those things specifically. And that has to matter. I mean, I get this guy's thrown for a ton of yards. But at what point are we saying, man, we all remember even in basketball, Kevin Love was averaging 20 and 20 in Minnesota. It's like, yo, it's Minnesota. You ain't playing for nothing special over there. You're not really winning anything over there. When it's time to actually compete, Chris Bosh, man, you're not in Toronto anymore. You're in Miami. It's starting to look a little different. You're like, hey, bro, where's that at? Where's that at? And then you see the real guys elevate. I look at 7 in that vein. I say, man, look, yeah, statistically, we could point to some of these other guys and say, yeah, they had better numbers. But we're not going to say, man, when it was time for them head to heads, when it was time for those gotta have it crunch time games, fourth quarter, all these other things, it's like that's where 7 thrive. That's where 7 shined. And I think, and to me, that's where I think he separates himself from those other guys right there.
Master of the pump fake as well. And it's,
Come on.
I'm not just going to beat you.
Fake.
I'm going to gash you and find the guy down the field. And let's do it how we do it in the backyard where the play's broken down. And I'm still going to make a play after the design of the play is just well past its expiration point. And he could evade defenders.
Hate playing against that, man. Hate playing against it.
Yeah.
Shoot, what about I always think of the fake spike versus Dallas. Get after it, man. Like, 7's on that type of time, man.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's super aggressive, man, and it just plays freely. And like you said, truly playing backyard ball was it was Brett Favre-ish, right? When we're talking about just that type of play, it's like, man, extending plays, making the throws that on paper, when you're in the film, when we're saying you don't make this throw, this is wrong. Him being able to do those things, man, because of his athleticism, because of his moxie, because of his just physical gifts. That's the thing to me. I'm just like, man, you have to include all of that when we're talking about a guy like 7, man. You have to. And that's why I'm just looking at this list. I'm like, you got Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers over on the practice squad?
That's where I would have put. That's where I would have put Big Ben. That's where I would have put Big Ben. Right after Mahomes. That's where I would have put him.
Yep. Respect on that, baby. Respect on that. All right. Well, I like it, man. I like it. Now, we should be getting up out of here, okay? But I did just real briefly. The running back position.
Okay.
Real briefly. The running back position.
I want to hear this.
I know, but I just so you got Priest Holmes, okay? Yep. Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, LaDainian Tomlinson as your P squad guy. Now, we brought up another guy that was in the news. Obviously, we know AB is on the run. Shout out to AB. All right, hopefully he gets that situated. But there was another guy that was in the news as well that I think is just as dominant when he was playing, Adrian Peterson. He don't get talked about? AP don't make the list? Well, I mean, to me, I'm just like, when we're talking about glaring omissions, Adrian Peterson, league MVP, Adrian Peterson. We're talking about 2,000 rushing yards post ACL injury. Like, it's Adrian Peterson. I know he is getting a little wacky with some of his off the field as he's aged. But when we're just simply talking running that football, how is he not on this list?
Yeah.
Practice squad active. How is he not on this list, man? I mean, obviously you got guys, I think guys like Shady McCoy, I think even a Steven Jackson type during the 2000s, right? But I'm just like, Adrian Peterson. That's what I just felt like, I had to say. I had to say his name. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
And to clarify for all the viewers and listeners, we're talking about Adrian Peterson, who did his thing with the Minnesota Vikings, not the other Adrian Peterson, not the Chicago Bears. Just want to make sure we're clear to everybody.
The right Adrian Peterson, the real Adrian Peterson, right? AP or AD, whichever you want to call him. All right, that one. What?
Not to have him listed is absurd.
Not even on your practice squad. Look, Priest Holmes. I'm a Priest Holmes guy. I remember when before Larry Johnson joined the gang, man. Like, Priest was that dude. Even McCaffrey. I'm like, McCaffrey. That's a tough one.
Can we go one more position before we sign off here?
This is why I love this thing. I'm like, as much as I want this, I'm like, it's so much on this list, man. What?
It's a great. I mean, we could go till sundown about all this. Cornerback, and I don't know who I would bump, but they've got Revis Island at number 1, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Champ Bailey, cool. Rondé Barber, Hall of Famer. Richard Sherman, Patrick Peterson, practice squad's Jalen Ramsey. This guy's never going to get his due, but I will never stop stumping for him.
Say it.
Charles Tillman needs to be among the greatest corners of all time for the peanut punch. And this is, let me educate some of your viewers who might not have heard this before, Arthur. This is the analogy I make to people. If we're talking about turnover creation, it is both interceptions and forced fumbles. And it's like what on-base percentage is to baseball versus batting average. Batting average, it's great to hit over 300 or 350 or close to 400. if your on base percentage is even higher, if it's above 400 or 500, it's all the same if you're getting on base.
It's
And
all
it is
the
the same thing when you talk about turnover creation with Charles Tillman. I understand he's a cover 2 corner. A lot of these other guys are shadows where you can lock them up man to man, and the best team's opposing receiver is gone for the game. I understand that. But when you talk about turnover creation and changing the game, they still call it the peanut punch, Arthur.
It's the peanut punch. It's the peanut punch, man. We all know the peanut punch, man.
Charles Tillman does not get more recognition for his contributions to turnover creation if it's all created the same, combined interceptions and forced fumbles, not just interceptions. It's like batting average versus on-base percentage in baseball. That's the analogy I make to people. He never gets his due. I never understand why he gets his due. We talk about changing the outcome of games, winning and losing, impact upon the game, and how it's even taught at this point.
Think about
20 years later after he came into the league. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about?
Oh, yes. Hey, shout out to Peanut Tillman, man. The peanut punch is real, man. Shoot, we see TJ Watt do it all the time, right? Yeah, that's the peanut punch, man. That's the peanut punch. All right, but I want to be messy for a second, all right? What about Asante Samuel? He don't get no talk? Asante don't get no talk?
The running backs, the wide receivers,
I'm just saying, man, Asante Samuel don't get not even a brief mention.
Another guy too, and maybe his production was more in the 90s. Ty Law. I remember Ty Law.
Come on, man. Aliquippa's finest. What are we talking about, man? Come on. Yeah.
It's tough. And it's like, okay, well, which guy do you take off? And I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. I don't know.
Yeah, but pick your poison right there.
Put him on the practice squad. This is an arbitrary thing anyway. So it's like
we can have multiple P squad corners, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we're limited to where it's like the folks who put this list together, and shout out to them because this has been so much fun. But like, I don't think we're limited to 16, 17 on the practice squad like we are a regular roster. Like
they were too by the book with it. They were so by the book. We're not gonna find your organization if you have 20 practice squad guys. If you got Asante Samuel, if you got the Larry Fitzgeralds of the world, the James Harrisons of the world, we'll give you a pass. All right. But when you don't have those guys, yeah. We got issues. All right, we got issues. But man, this has been an absolute blast, Mark, man. Definitely appreciate you again, man. You got anything you want to shout out, man, before we get up out of here, bro?
Listen, just wrapping up my NBA draft coverage over at WRAL, so that's been a lot of fun. Check some of that out as well. You can find that on my social feeds. But Arthur, this has been so much fun, and as we're into the off season, get closer and closer to training camp. Pro PA St. Vincent College, man. We're into the Rodgers era, so it's going to be fun, man, and I cannot wait. I'm not trying to wish my life away. I'm going to enjoy my summer. Trust me.
Got to enjoy the summer.
But it's going to be a lot of fun this year, and can't wait to talk to you again. Whatever that is, always good to see you, Arthur.
No, without a doubt, man. And you already know we're going to be doing this even more, especially when this season gets here, man. We're getting closer and closer, like you said, though, man. But like you said, man, hopefully everybody that has watched this enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And don't forget to drop in the comment section as well how you feel about these guys that we were debating. Maybe you disagree with what me and Mark were saying. If so, the comment section is right there, baby, and we always got time, all right? We always have time. But we appreciate you all for tuning in, and until next time, baby, peace.